Hello everyone. The following course is a basic introduction of VSOL INCE. This lesson is mainly divided into 5 parts. The first part is an overview of VSOL INCE. The second part introduces tenant management. The third part covers the monitoring and management of network devices by VSOL INCE. The fourth part introduces some of the system functions of VSOL INCE, and the fifth part provides an introduction to the VSOL INCE app. The main objectives of this lesson are as follows. Number 1. Understand the basic functions and features of VSOL INCE. Number 2. Learn the fundamental operations for monitoring network devices with VSOL INCE. Now, let's start with the first part. The VSOL Intelligent Network Cloud Engine, VSOL INCE, is a network management platform based on bells per second architecture. The VSOL INCE is capable of monitoring and managing OLT and switch, as well as supporting the MQTT protocol and TR069 for monitoring the running status of ONU and router. Then it also supports Android app and iOS app management. This chapter introduces its installation requirement, basic functions, and features. The objectives of this chapter are as follows. Understand the basic information about VSOL INCE. The main functions of VSOL INCE include performance monitoring, alarm management, device management, user permission management, topology management, and data backup management. These features will be briefly described in the following sections. First, let's take a look at the deployment requirements for VSOL INCE. It is required to run on a Linux operating system. Since CentOS 7 is no longer updated or maintained, it is recommended to deploy VSOL INCE on Ubuntu or Debian servers. The more devices managed, the higher the performance requirements for the service to run. You can refer to this table. Please refer to the attached figure for the installation process of VSOL INCE. Select hardware devices based on the network environment you want to manage. Before installation, disable the firewall or antivirus software of the device, or whitelist the installation software and installation path. Refer to the user manual for detailed installation instructions. After VSOL INCE is deployed and services are activated, users can log in using the Super Administrator account. The Super Administrator account is admin with a default password of admin at 2024. Since the Super Administrator possesses the highest system privileges, it is strongly recommended to change the login password immediately after deployment. Only administrator accounts can log in using usernames, while all other accounts must authenticate with their registered email addresses. The default web access port for VSOL INCE is 38880, though this port number can be modified during the deployment process through a specific configuration step. VSOL INCE supports 3 login methods: email with password, email with verification code, as well as QR code scanning via the VSOL INCE app. To switch to the QR code page, Simply click the icon in the upper right corner of the login window. After the initial deployment of VSOL INCE, the Super Administrator account requires authorization to log in. The specific operation process is as follows. Contact VSOL sales personnel or technical support staff. Provide the license key displayed at the bottom of the login page, and they will apply the corresponding authorization key for you. Click the key icon in the upper right corner of the login page to enter the license management interface. Use the Super Administrator account and the obtained key to complete the authorization. After login to VSOL INCE, it will enter the home interface. The homepage is divided into multiple parts, containing information such as device quantity, device alarms, alarm trend charts, system logs, and project lists. This part displays the total number of devices, such as the online devices, devices in monitor, and current online user number. This part categorically displays the number of online devices by OLT, switch, ONU, and router. You can click on the corresponding device icon, and the web page will automatically redirect to the device list page of that specific type. This part displays statistics on the current number of alarms from all devices. You can click on an alarm type, and the web page will automatically navigate to the alarm list page for that specific type. This part displays the chart of alarm trend within a period of time. This part displays all current logs, including alarm logs, system operation logs, task logs, and user login logs. You can quickly review recent operations and changes here, or click on this item to directly navigate to the log list page. This part displays the number of online network devices within each project associated with the current account. A detailed introduction to projects will be presented in Chapter 3. For now, it is important to know that network devices must be added to a project to enable centralized management. After learning the basic information on the VSOL INCE homepage, let's now proceed to learn tenant management. Nowadays, each ISP or organization needs to manage a growing number of network devices. Deploying separate EMS to manage devices belonging to different organizations has become increasingly impractical. The multi-tenant management feature supported by VSOL INCE addresses this challenge effectively by enabling a single deployment to provide network management services for multiple ISPs or organizations simultaneously. Essentially, each tenant functions as an independent management account, with projects isolated from one another. You can think of a tenant as a sub-administrator that only manages devices belonging to its organization. This feature also makes VSOL INCE more suitable for cloud deployment, allowing flexible provision of network management services to different customers. The objectives of this chapter are as follows. Number 1. Understand the role of the tenant in VSOL INCE. VSOL INCE supports both single-tenant and multi-tenant operation modes. By default, the system operates in single-tenant mode after initial deployment, where the super administrator admin serves as the only tenant in the system. To switch to multi-tenant mode, a license authentication key is required to complete the mode transition. The specific procedure is similar to that of applying for authorization for the administrator account during the initial deployment. However, the authorization code to be entered is different. After enabling multi-tenant mode and logging in, you will notice that the top menu includes an additional tenant management page. On this page, the super administrator can view the tenant list, as well as create and enable tenants. Each tenant has a unique tenant ID. The tenant ID 000000 belongs to the super administrator and cannot be deleted. In addition to manually creating tenants, VSOL INCE also supports tenant registration via email with verification code. A registration entry for tenant accounts is provided in the bottom left corner of the login page. This requires the super administrator to first configure the email sending service. Essentially, this configuration is a mandatory item. Otherwise, basic tenant registration cannot be completed. The SMTP email service used to send verification codes to newly registered tenants is configured in the System Email Service page under the Third-Party Services section. Administrators can configure permissions for added tenants, including the number of network devices of various types they are allowed to manage, the number of alerts, and the number of users they can create. Additionally, administrators can set an expiration time for tenants, after which the tenant will be unable to log in and use the system. The administrator can view the online count of various models of network equipment currently managed by each tenant, but cannot directly monitor or manage the tenant's devices. To manage another tenant's equipment, the tenant must share the project. Next, let's learn together how to bring network devices under the monitoring and management of VSOL INCE. Monitoring and managing network devices is a core function of network management. VSOL INCE integrates several functional modules, including EMS, TR069ACS, and MQTT, to achieve unified management of OLTs, switches, ONUS, and routers. The objectives of this chapter are as follows. Number 1. Understand the configuration methods for connecting network devices to VSOL INCE. Number 2. Understand the role of projects in device monitoring and management. Now let's learn how to connect OLT to VSOL INCE. In general, the OLT can connect to the EMS server through both in-band and out-band management IP addresses. In in-band management, you need to configure VLAN IP address for the OLT, and then configure this VLAN on the OLT uplink port through which the EMS communicates with the OLT. If the VSOL INCE server and the OLT IP address are not on the same network segment, it would causes the OLT to be unable to access the server. You need to configure a gateway or static route for the OLT. Then need to configure the VSOL INCE server IP on the OLT remote server interface. If the connection is successful, a tip will be displayed. If it's not connected, you can check whether the OLT can access the VSOL INCE server by ping. Finally, log into VSOL INCE to check whether the OLT is online. As for out-band management, it is very similar to in-band management. The only difference is that it connects to the server by manage port. If you want to delete the OLT on the connection, there is a delete button in the operation list. You can click on it. However, if the link is normal, the OLT still reconnects automatically. Now let's learn the basics of OLT management on VSOL INCE. Click the Manage button in the target OLT to access the specific configuration interface. On the Device Information interface, you can visually view the statistics and running status from the statistics chart. Basically, VSOL INCE supports most of the functions of configuration management VSOL OLT. You will find that it is very similar to VSOL OLT Web, which means that you will be able to use it quickly if you have used VSOL OLT Web. By clicking the Alarm button in the target OLT, the alarm details list is displayed. You can view the alarm events related to this OLT and choose to confirm the alarm and export them. And it is also very similar to the configuration on OLT Web for other service configurations on VSOL INCE. There is no specific introduction to this course. You can refer to other courses. PON Products Basic Operation and Configuration. Now, turning to the ONU monitoring section, VSOL INCE provides 3 methods for managing ONUS. Number 1. Indirect management through the OLT. Number 2. Direct interaction with ONUS via the MQTT protocol. Number 3. Direct interaction with ONUS via the TR069 protocol. Users can manage ONUS through the ONU list on the OLT. This process essentially involves VSOL INCE managing the OLT via the SNMP protocol, while the OLT interacts with the ONUS using the OAM or OMCI protocol. There is no direct interaction between VSOL INCE and the ONUS. VSOL INCE supports monitoring ONU through MQTT. This requires configuring the MQTT server IP for the ONU to access the VSOL INCE server. VSOL INCE also supports monitoring and managing ONUS via the TR069 protocol. To enable this feature, it is necessary to configure the ONU with the TR069 server IP address and authentication credentials, and establish a TR069 Type 1 connection. In the ONU list, you can view the connection status of the ONUS. Similar to the OLT list, a green status indicates that the device is online, while red means it is offline. You can also see which protocol the device is currently using to connect to VSOL INCE. Click the Manage button to access the Overview interface. You can view detailed information about the ONU, including the software version, optical power, device port status, network information, and more. Performance monitoring is an important function. In VSOL INCE, you can customize and establish monitoring policies and allocate them as needed, saving resources. For example, you can choose to monitor an OLT periodically and customize performance metrics. On the Monitoring Data interface, you can view the current monitoring data in real time to determine whether the device is working properly. Click the Real-Time Monitor button. You can enter the Monitoring Data Details interface to observe the changes in device monitoring data over a specific time period, which can serve as reference data for deployment. Now, let's understand the role of projects in VSOL INCE. On the home page, you can view the list of projects, as mentioned in the introduction in Chapter 2 earlier. Devices belong to projects, and tenants can categorize different devices into different projects based on management needs. A project may contain multiple devices, and users can share their projects with other users for collaborative management as needed. Each tenant has a default project that cannot be deleted. Each project has a unique project ID. Network devices can connect to the corresponding project by filling in the project ID. Additionally, different groups can be created under a project, and administrators can move devices into these groups. Further subdividing the project into different groups can achieve more flexible and precise equipment management. Each project will have a group that cannot be deleted. Dividing projects into distinct groups enables more flexible and granular device management. Each project will contain a non-deletable group. Next, let's take a quick look at some other system features of VSOL INCE. VSOL INCE supports the automatic generation of a base topology based on OLT registration. You can also add splitters as needed to modify the topology to better match the actual connections. Alarm management is also a basic function of VSOL INCE. You can view the alarm events of OLT or switch connected to the server in the alarm list, and take necessary actions to confirm and clear alarms. VSOL INCE can push alarm information to users by email or SMS. You can find related configuration items on the Alarm Config interface. It is convenient for user to handle the exception on time. Based on actual requirements, it can be configured as a different mail server from the one previously mentioned for sending email login verification codes. VSOL INCE supports the display of device location through maps. On the Map Management interface, you can mark the device to the corresponding location. but you need to fill in the API key provided by Google in the Map menu first. VSOL INCE provides a custom menu function, which you can modify the menu description, icons, sorting, and whether to display this menu. VSOL INCE can support defining permissions for different account roles. It can assign different roles to newly created users to restrict their access permissions to various functional modules. In addition to the administrator, project manager, project operator, and project guest are also system default roles that have predefined access permissions for each functional module. Finally, let's start with the last chapter. When the administrator uses a mobile device to access VSOL INCE Web, the management interface is inconvenient to operate. VSOL has developed apps for Android and iPhone to manage network device. The VSOL INCE app is designed for ISP and organization administrators, while the VST app is intended for home end users to manage their own devices. This chapter primarily introduces the VSOL INCE app. After this chapter, you will be able to describe the basic function of client app for VSOL INCE. The Android app of VSOL INCE is required to run on devices with Android 13.0 and above. Running on iPhone requires iOS 15 or above. After entering the login interface of the app, you also need to configure the VSOL INCE server IP and port number. It should be noted that the port number is 38881. Now, let's learn how to manage devices in VSOL INCE app. After logging in to the app, the home interface will be displayed. It displays the count of active OLTs and ONUS as well as alarm statistics. On the OLT interface, you can view the OLT list information on the server. Click the item to enter OLT overview. You can view the basic device information, which includes software version, device running time, CPU and memory usage. Click the Config button to enter OLT configuration interface. You can do basic configuration of OLT ports. Click the alarm icon. You will view the alarm list of the device. On ONU interface, you can view the ONU connected to the VSOL INCE server through MQTT or TR069. Click the button to view the specific status information of the ONU. It includes software version, device running time, CPU and memory usage, device port status, optical power, and more. On System Interface, you can modify the password of the login account and server IP, as well as some other basic settings of the app. That's all for this course. Thank you for your attention and listening.